Welcome to Spiraling Soul, our very first episode where we're doing it together in person. This is never seen before on our podcast.
Nope.
Very exciting. Yeah, what are we talking about? Welcome.
Congrats on beginning the spiral. I had some thoughts about how humans are just wildlife. Like, we like to think that we are superior beings and we're like so conscious and all that, which I think, like, among other animals, yes, but at the same time, it's just wild out here. Like, we are literally, like, we are in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
And that scares me. I don't like it.
Why?
Because it's like, we're all just out here surviving. And I don't like it. Like, last night, all I was thinking about was, like, that's a threat, that's a threat, that's a threat, that's a threat, that's a threat. And I couldn't, like, just calm the fuck down. But I did. I occasionally did.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, if I'm sitting here anxious and on edge of a threat or an attack, it's like I'm already living the attack. And chances are there's not going to be an attack. But there was once, well, there were handfuls of attacks throughout my life, but there was one with the homeless man in Austin on the scooter. And I think that, like, fucked me up. Because now I'm, like, out there, like, super on edge. Is that not your experience with life?
No. I was chilling last night.
There were many times I was chilling. But then there were times I wasn't chilling.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense because there's so much uncertainty in the world. Like, I had an intrusive thought because there's so many people out and about that there was gonna be, like, something really bad that happened to the whole crowd. But it's like, chances of that is very little.
Yeah. I guess
I
it
don't know
is
what
kind
to
of
say
like,
about it.
I guess it's kind of like self-centered to think, oh, out of everywhere that could be attacked, it's gonna be me because I'm special.
You're special for getting attacked?
No, like, what are the odds? The odds are very slim.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, well, the odds are gonna be me. Like, I'm gonna be the one that's attacked.
It's definitely, like, evolutionary to be on edge because back when humans were in caves and stuff like that,
Yeah.
like, there was so many threats, so many natural threats. Humanity was, I mean, not saying humanity's not brutal today, but back then it was, like, I feel like it was way more brutal. Like, so we always, I don't know where I'm going with this.
No,
honestly.
I know. I can see where you're going with it. Let the thought take you. Flow on that river.
I don't know. I can't really see the point of what I'm trying to say.
I think I see your point of, it's like, it's a survival, it's like an instinct for survival to kind of be on edge and on the lookout.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look back at it down, like, humans were just more animals than we are now, because we're not as conscious, weren't as conscious then. And it was kind of like, I am man, I rape women in cave, I spread my seed. And then that was just life. Like, it was just accepted of, like, okay, there's a caveman, I am probably gonna get raped right now, you know?
Yeah.
And so now when I'm on the street and then I saw a single man alone, I'm like, or even when we were in that little tree area where the man's phone got stolen.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I didn't see all the rest of the people, but at first I was like, oh my god, it's just us and him right now. Like, and then there was a man hiding behind the bush. Did you see the man hiding behind the bush? He was literally laying on the ground behind the bushes.
No, you didn't point that out to me.
Behind the girls. I was too scared. I didn't want him to know I knew.
No. It's like hyper-vigilance.
Yeah. I'm like,
I feel like you're very hyper-vigilant, and maybe that's caused by something in your past, like not feeling safe.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a survival mechanism
Yeah.
I had to have growing up all the time.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm actively like fighting it every time it happens, which is good.
Yeah. That's all you can do is that's why being present is so important, because in the present moment, because you're feeling this anxiety from there potentially being a threat, but when you pull yourself into the present moment, you realize you're able to like take in the whole situation, the whole surroundings, and you realize, oh, it's my thoughts creating this threat for me. There's not actually an active threat. Like, yes, there were men that looked a little bit like there could be some sketchiness there.
Just because they were alone.
Yeah, but realistically, I think for me, I think you were a little bit more scared than I was. Like, I didn't feel unsettled at all. Also, I know this city pretty well, but I was like, there's people around, like, as long as we have our wits about us, it's all good. And I think so. It's like really your thoughts that create. It's like your thoughts create your reality. And so
Yeah.
if your thoughts are spiraling with like fear of something happening, then you're going to feel like something is actually happening.
Yeah.
When something might not even be happening.
Yeah.
But that's why mindfulness and being present is so important, because then you're like, okay, deep breath, look around. Is there anything actively unsafe here? No.
Yeah.
But then if something unsafe does happen, then you trust yourself to navigate that if it is actively happening.
Yeah. And I feel like the calmer I feel, the better I handle those situations, because I'm not responding like with anxiety. It's like not a reaction. Like I'm responding to it and like actively thinking, okay, like what is the best move to make here?
Mm-hmm. It's also kind of ridiculous. Like, I'm not saying there's no threats on Earth anymore. Of course, there is potential threats out there. But it's interesting that as our society has progressed more to like yes, we are actually more safe than we used to be in the past. Like, we have access to medication, we have shelter, things like that.
We have like the police that enforce laws that kind of deter people from breaking laws and hurting others.
Sometimes. Like, the most important things to past humans used to be finding shelter, finding food and water, and surviving. And so I feel like early humans were probably really present, but very much in like, hypervigilance, because they had to be aware of like a saber-toothed tiger or something like that. But today, not saying everybody doesn't, not say like majority of people do have. Now I feel like I'm like getting into my head about it, because a lot of people don't have clean water and access to food and shelter.
Let's just say in America.
Yeah, a lot of us generally have these things now. Like, we have access to shelter, food, and water a lot more accessible than in the past, where you would spend like days looking for food. But now it's like you can go buy food and stuff like that. So now instead of focusing on those basic needs, which if you don't have those basic needs met, that's like the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Like that's the most basic human needs. But once you get past that, like once you have that, then your problems evolve into different things. And so it's like anxiety came from the hypervigilance of like always thinking there's a threat coming from like nature or something. But now our anxiety comes from stuff like talking in public or like just things that aren't even really something that should cause anxiety. Like all the things
Yeah.
I'm anxious about don't even matter at all. But it's because
Yeah.
my brain is like trying to find a threat everywhere. I mean, not everywhere. I feel like everybody has certain things that make them more anxious than others. Like like you are more unsettled like being out at night when there's like sketchy men.
I'm usually unsettled anywhere there is people.
Mm,
I'm unsettled even alone in my own home.
yeah. You've had that for a while too. Like I remember talking to you years ago and you'd be home alone just so scared.
Oh, like literally I've had to hide under the covers before because I'm so like now if it's not people, then it's like these shadows on my ceiling or aliens and they're trying to communicate with me and I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
I feel a presence. I'm scared. But like I guess that's not normal though, right?
No. I don't feel, I mean, there have been times that I do feel a little unsettled. Like sometimes I don't like to be home alone in a big house with like a lot of rooms or like a basement or something like that. But being home alone in my apartment where I know I actually like being surrounded by people. Like that's why I like living in the city because if something bad happens, someone else will hear it
Mm-hmm.
and be able to like report it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I kind of like I get most scared when I'm out in the middle of nowhere with like no civilization because I'm more scared of nature or like the unknown of the woods or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't really get unsettled that easily unless I'm already like anxious, like having an anxious day. And then every little thing like causes me to spiral. Like for example, last night I had an intrusive thought, "Oh, what if this place gets shot up?" Like cuz we're in a huge crowd. But since I was have like in a positive mindset, I was like that's not going to happen. It's just an intrusive thought.
And like I guess if it does, you'll handle it then, but it's like
Yeah.
you're already out and about. If it happens, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I like honestly I'm not that scared to leave this earth. Like it's not the worst thing that could happen. It could honestly be pretty awesome in my opinion. So like why am I so fucking scared? Like I want to dive deep into this because like genuinely it's a problem and like I need different mind perspectives on this of like how the
Yeah.
fuck do you just go about life not scared all the time?
Yeah. I can try my best from what I've learned, like working in the mental health field and also experiencing anxiety, because I still get anxiety. It's actually been way more under control than usual lately, except for like things that actually need to cause anxiety. Because I used to get unnecessary anxiety. Now I get anxiety about things that call for anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
But anxiety is basically your brain trying to prepare you for a traumatic event. And so your body is putting you, raising your cortisol levels and putting, what's it, switching from parasympathetic to the sympathetic. I don't know. I wish I knew which one was which. I can't quite remember. But basically, anxiety is just like, it's your brain thinking it's doing you a favor for preparing you. Like, what would I do if this happened? But it's not necessary anymore because generally nobody is really in a life or death situation on a regular basis. But it's like your brain is thinking that you're in a life or death situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then since it like raises your cortisol and your like adrenaline, then you're trying to spot every little thing you can to like play to prove to yourself like, oh yeah, there is a threat.
Yeah. Or if I make this tiny change, this threat's not gonna get to me. Like, when I was sitting down watching the fireworks, I'm like, I need to take my phone out of my back pocket so it doesn't get stolen. And I'm gonna hold it here. Even though I'm kind of uncomfortable in this position, I don't want my phone getting stolen. And then I was like, wait, my butt's on the ground. I want to wear these pants again later. Let me take off my jacket, turn it inside out, nicely fold it so I can sit on it, and then my pants won't get dirty. Like, it's just like little shit like that. And then it's like, oh, there's someone really close to me. No, they're not too close. I'm fine. They can move. Like, if they feel like I'm too close to them, they can move.
I think we're just thinking too much.
No, for real.
There's this meme of this girl, I don't know, it's like a screenshot. I don't even know who it's an influencer or something, and they were doing an ask on Instagram, and the question was like, how would you manage your anxiety? It was like something along those lines, and she just responded, I think we all need to stop thinking so much. And it was just so simple, but to the point. I'm like, that's so true. Like, we're really just creating these narratives in our brain that don't even exist.
I know.
And then we create this narrative, and then our brain looks for things in our surroundings to prove our point.
Yeah.
But it started in your brain, and then it tried to find evidence of that thought. Where in reality, we should be observing our surroundings, seeing the evidence in our surroundings, and then using that to influence our inner world.
Yeah.
Because, like, right now, there's literally nothing wrong right now with where we are. Like, we're comfortable, we're safe, we have shelter. But it's like, if you have this anxious thought of like, oh my gosh, what if this thing happens? And you look around and you hear a noise outside. Oh, that indicates that something's about to happen. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then it just snowballs.
And your body is like having physical reactions to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm talking as if I know how to master this, but I still experience anxiety.
Yeah.
But I really like realized recently it's a daily effort. It's like what I talked about last night. It's a daily effort. Like don't feel discouraged if you're trying to manage your anxiety and you feel anxious. Just let it happen, see what's making you anxious, and readjust, and put intentional effort in every single day.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way to heal, is to be consistent and continue to manage it.
Yeah. And I felt like for most of last night, I felt pretty calm. I felt like I was there. I was feeling like Tumblr girl vibes. I was having a good time.
I think maybe it happened right after we smoked weed. Because weed will enhance everything. I don't know. I get anxious when I'm in crowds when I smoked weed. I have to get my laundry.
Okay.
Do you have a thought, though?
No.
Okay.
Emma's back from her laundry trip.
When I'm saying all this, I'm saying this as somebody who's struggled with anxiety since I gained consciousness. Even before that, I was the most anxious...
Even before you gained consciousness?
I was the most anxious baby ever.
Really?
Like, I am such a ball of anxiety. And I feel recently, maybe it's because I got properly diagnosed, because I've heard that a lot of girls especially get misdiagnosed with anxiety when it's actually ADHD. I feel like this is the first time that I can actually do things without being in fear all the time. Yeah. So it is possible. That's what I'm trying to say.
You just basically have to take meth every single day.
No, very helpful meth.
Yeah, when I do take my Adderall, I do feel,
Calmer.
yeah, and
Yeah.
like less thoughts in my head.
Me too.
Like it's like, oh wow, I'm just like laying here with not multiple trains of thought intersecting each other at one
Yeah.
time, and me trying to make sense of what it's telling me.
Yeah. Same. My brain gives me so many narratives that are always spiraling in my head, like ruminating. But being properly medicated for ADHD, it just wipes all that out. And then it makes me feel more present. And then it removes my anxiety. So it's really just the thoughts. Your thoughts be thoughtin'.
Thoughts be thoughtin'. They be thoughtin' a lot. Yeah, and then I would notice, I'd be like, Casey, have a good time. Like, it's like, I genuinely, like, I'm not just fucking relaxed, and it hasn't been until the past, like, 1 to 2 years that I've been realizing, like, oh, wait, this is what people mean. This is what relaxation means. When people tell me to relax, this is what it means. Like, you feel comfortable. You feel like you can just watch the fucking fireworks and look at the little things fall and like not be worried that someone's gonna come up and attack you, or you're just talking with someone and you're not constantly analyzing how they could be perceiving and interpreting what you're saying. You just say it and trust that they're not gonna like ruin your self-confidence and attack you and like get mad for like misunderstanding you or even purposely misunderstanding you just to put you down. I'm traumatized, guys. Like, I'm traumatized. No, I have experienced trauma. I am not traumatized. I am healing.
And this is why it takes intentional effort to basically reroute your brain every single day, because you can't just reroute it overnight. Like, there's no just overnight cure. You literally have to show up every day and rewire your thoughts, because trauma is stored in the body, and so it takes a lot of time and effort to overcome this, like, basically code, something that was encoded in your life, like especially during child and teen years. Like, I'm still dealing with the fallout of stuff that happened when I was a kid.
Same.
And I have to intentionally, every time something comes up, like, say, no, that is not true anymore.
Yeah.
It's hard, though. It's easier said than done.
Well, before, it was like, you know, in childhood, you don't really, especially if it's in your household, and like, I don't, I feel reluctant to even talk about childhood, like, on the internet, because I don't want, like, my parents to hear it and, like, feel like I'm guilting them and trying to make them feel bad, or people hearing it and being like, your parents suck, they're bad people. I'm like, they're not. Like, they're not, but I am deeply affected by it and having to rewire, like, everything I know. So, like, I guess when I talk about my childhood, which I'm about to do, don't take it the wrong way. Just, like, it is what it is. It happened. I've accepted it. Now I'm just trying to figure out, like, what did I learn that was, like, not benefiting me, and trying to find a different reality. Because, like, when you were in situations, like, as a kid, and you literally don't know any better. If if it's normal for you to walk on eggshells at home and always feel on edge and never know what type of response you're gonna get, and it's unpredictable, and you have to be on edge all the time and be analyzing people's behavior and be hyper vigilant to see if, okay, they're walking a little harder than normal, I need to be careful how I behave. I need to be less annoying. I need to not say certain things because it will be taken out of context, or I'll be screamed at to be quiet, or like, it's just, I like realize now how a lot of that has affected me, of like the people pleasing, and always like, it's so hard for me to just be fucking chill around people. And but the past few years I have been, okay, going back to why I said this whole thing. Now, as a kid, you pretty much have no control over that. Like, you can't leave. You can't save yourself. You can try to speak up. You can try to say your feelings. You can try to change the situation. But if the people around you are emotionally immature, or not like emotionally intelligent, or maybe they have some kind of antisocial personality disorder, like they're narcissists, like, you, no matter what you say, it's not gonna help your situation, and it's gonna come off as criticism. And like, so basically you have no control over it until maybe you get to like, I don't know, 16, and you start piecing together that this shit isn't fucking normal and it's not okay, and like, oh, my friends' parents aren't like this, and my friends feel safe at home, and when I go over there, their dads come home and kiss them on the forehead, and they'll even kiss me on the forehead and make me feel welcome, and they help with car issues instead of telling you to just go Google it and figure it out yourself. Like, they're consistent. It's like,
You know what that makes me think is your anxiety now and your hypervigilance is you trying to find a way, is you trying to find control.
yeah.
Because you didn't have control in the past, and now that you are in control of whatever you do, however you operate, like you have freedom to do that instead of being a child not having that freedom. And now your anxiety, it's like overcompensating because you never had control, and now you have the control, but now it's just too much going on now.
Yeah.
Like that's all I heard when you're saying that, is the past and like the hypervigilance now is just trying to control because you didn't have control before.
Yeah. Yeah. But now it's like that survival mechanism. I don't fucking need it anymore, because I can just, if someone is not making me feel good or making me feel trapped, I can just leave. Like, I don't have to put up with it.
Yeah.
If I feel bad around someone and on edge, I can just leave. Whereas before I couldn't. And so I'm like, this mechanism, it helped me in the past, but I no longer need it.
Yeah.
So I've been really trying to like, I'm like, you'll figure it out. Whatever bad thing happens, which is like pretty rare now, you'll figure it out.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like every single person on this planet has this one thing. Some people had something way more drastic than others, like way more traumatic than others, but I feel like everybody has had experiences that just shape them in a negative way. Like we're talking about, emotional trauma. There's also things as simple as like maybe when someone was 4 years old, they got bit by a snake and now they have a fear of snakes, and every time they see a snake, they have a panic attack or something. It's like, yeah, like once something is encoded in your brain, like you have a really traumatic experience and it gets encoded in your body, that shit is so hard to release.
Yeah.
And then it comes up so much later in life. That's why, I mean, I work in mental health. That's why I advocate for people going to therapy, like EMDR, things that can literally like reroute your brain. My therapist was explaining EMDR to me because I'm going to start it soon.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a network. Like this one traumatic thing happened in your past, and then it led to like a web of so many other things that you might not even realize are connected to that one trauma. And even she said sometimes people have one trauma they're pinpointing, but then when you access that part of your limbic system, it goes even deeper. Like there was an even previous trauma from earlier that influenced that trauma. Like it's all just stored in our body. It's all connected. Our traumas and things that have happened to us shape what we do and how we operate today.
Yeah. How we like react to things.
Yeah.
Cause like now, like me now, well, going back, well, okay, ADHD, we'll flow back to what she said, but yeah, cause even now, like I've gotten a lot better at responding rather than reacting, but if I'm hurt by someone, in the past it was very reactive. It was this person is purposely trying to hurt me, I can never trust them again, and now I'm reacting to this and I feel betrayed by you, even if it's something small. Like you in Australia when we were like 18 and I didn't brush my teeth one night and you're like, ew, you didn't brush your teeth. That betrayal in that moment, I felt so betrayed. It was an explosive reaction.
I'm sorry that I.
No, I mean it's not you. It's all like it was all me. But did you feel like my reaction was like over the top for like?
I don't remember, but then I think because at the time I had more of an issue with like friendships because I had moved around a lot, and so it was hard for me to keep friends. And so you reacted that way, and then I started freaking out because I thought I ruined our friendship.
Aww.
And then we were kind of annoyed at each other for a day after that, and then I was like, fuck, I fucked it up. Because I was being too judgmental or something.
Yeah, no, we were both just traumatized.
Yeah. But yeah, I wasn't even thinking, that's the thing, like, I wasn't even thinking of you and the way you reacted. I was internalizing it, like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
So I wasn't even, like,
I think mine
remembering your reaction. Oh. I just remember how I felt. I was like, oh my gosh, I fucked it up.
Well, I remember my reaction because I felt like it was just afterwards, I'm like, why the fuck did you react that way? Like, that did not warrant it, but it was all my, like, trauma being displaced onto you. Like, this reminded me of a past event, and now I'm just reacting. And
I feel bad for our third roommate, Sarah, on the trip, because then it got awkward, and she's just, like, chilling. Hope she's doing well.
Yeah.
So during that time, that was before we were really aware of what was actually going on, like why we were, you know, kind of messed up. Now, Casey and I are too aware. Like, we're so aware because we can see the trauma, we can see how it influences our lives, we can see, like, when we do react instead of respond. And so that's why healing is so hard, because you notice it so much more. Because, like, when you like, aren't noticing it at all, it's just, like, part of your functioning. Like, you're not thinking more deeply about it. But now, it's, like, every time I do something that I know is a trigger response or an anxious, like, thought pattern, I know better. But so we're intellectualizers.
Yeah, no,
sure.
Seriously, it happened, and that's what makes it worse, is because you're like, fuck, I just want to be present, but I did notice I just did this thing, so now let me talk myself down of why I don't need to be scared of X, Y, and Z. And then I'll be like, well, you're scared of X, Y, and Z because of this thing in your childhood. And now I'm thinking about that thing in my childhood and all those other things that are tied to it. And now I'm spiraling and wondering why my dad didn't love me. Like,
I know, that's like, because I was spiraling the other week. I have a lot going on in my life right now. I'm unemployed. I was moving and I couldn't find a new place to live. Had to spend a lot of time in a situation that brought me back to the past. And so I was spiraling. And during the whole spiral, it's like I knew what was going on. I was like, oh yeah, I know why I'm spiraling. But I wasn't just letting it spiral because there's so much resistance. That's something that I have been trying to learn to do is just feel.
Yeah.
Like just let it happen. Just let myself feel shitty sometimes and have that be okay.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to make it, oh yeah, oh if I only did this, oh if I catch this thought and change it. Sometimes you just have to let the shitty feelings exist. Because that's what's going to process them out. There's other ways to process out emotions too, but ultimately just feeling the thing is what's going to heal you. It's when you suppress it, that keeps it stuck in your body, and then it just gets bigger and bigger and manifests more and more, and you create more and more resistance. You have to just let it out.
And by like not feeling the feeling and over analyzing and trying to change the feeling, that is you subconsciously telling yourself this feeling is not okay. You're not okay. You're not allowed to feel this way. And so now you're gaslighting yourself as to why you shouldn't feel this way, when it's like, bro, just fucking feel the feeling. It will last like not even that long. Whereas if you're internalizing it, it's lasting so much fucking longer. And so now, like, yeah, when I feel the bad feelings now, I'm like, why was I so scared to feel bad feelings?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, that's so embarrassing. Like, why are you scared to feel your feeling?
I know. I remember I used to have this when I was a teenager, I had this weird sense of pride in the fact that I rarely cried. Because I was like, oh, I'm just so good at, like, controlling my emotions. No, it's because I was emotionally numb. I wasn't feeling anything because I wasn't letting myself feel it. Now I cry a lot.
I love crying.
And after I cry, I always feel so much better. I also look really cute after I cry.
Really?
You know, you got, like, your cheeks are red.
Oh, yeah.
And your like lips flushed. Get a little puffy.
I'm not cute while I'm crying, but I'm cute when I'm done.
Like post-cry.
Post-cry.
Yeah.
Post-cry clarity.
Yeah. I also like releasing. I'm trying to get better. This is another thing that I think we're maybe both hyper-vigilant about is journaling our true feelings. Because I don't want to write down on paper. Because sometimes I think like really. I think me at my core, I really like. How do I say it? Sometimes I just have thoughts that are really, really mean, okay? And I'm scared to write them down because I don't want people to read them when I die or something. B, I don't want to, like, let that thought become a bigger thing and put it out in the universe like, oh, I hate this person or something. Which I don't even hate anybody, honestly, but I just sometimes get, like, mean thoughts. But it's like, once you write it out, you feel so much better.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I actually don't feel this way truly. It's just like my thought spiral.
Yeah. Like right now in that moment, I did feel this way, but I know. Yeah. And I'm allowed to think that.
Yeah.
You're allowed to have thoughts.
Yeah. Every journal entry I have starts with me. Literally, my last journal entry, I was like, if anyone is reading this, don't take anything in this entry seriously because I don't truly feel this way. I'm just really pissed off at everybody and everything right now. But by the end of it, I calmed down so much. And by the last paragraph, I was like, you know, I wish everybody like love and forgiveness. Like, I really want the best for everybody. And I'm sorry for everything I've done. And like, I forgive everybody and I'm grateful. And so I think journaling is a really good way to like, get it out.
Yeah.
You can even burn, if you want to write some mean shit that you don't actually believe but just can't get it out of your head, write it down and just burn the piece of paper.
That's a good one.
If you don't want anyone to like read it or something.
My most recent journal, in the, what is it? Like, it's the cover and then it's the inside of the cover. I don't know. The inside of the cover, like as soon as you open it, on the inside of the cover, not the paper, so it can't be ripped out, I wrote this whole long thing of like, dude, don't read this. If you read this and you don't have permission, that's on you. You can't get mad at me for anything I have written in this because you are choosing to read it, and just know, like, this is your choice, and you might hear some stuff that you don't want to hear, and you might hear stuff that is going to hurt your feelings, and you might hear stuff that might make you think of me differently, and that's on you. And if I ever find out you ever read my fucking journal without my permission, that is a big violation of privacy, and we are no longer friends. We're done. You're out of my life. I don't accept that. It was like a whole long thing.
Oh, wow.
I did a whole disclaimer just in case someone ever found my journal.
That kind of made me think of Mean Girls in the Burn book by Regina George. Like, maybe she was just letting her emotions out on paper and didn't want that exposed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, I mean, I really, like, I love people and I try to operate with a lot of love and stuff, but we're all human and we all get frustrated at people or situations. Like, it's just part of life. Like, don't be scared to be angry.
Mm-hmm.
Or anxious or scared or anything. Like, because once you let that emotion out, you realize, oh, it actually wasn't that deep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for real. But then, like, also to add to that, I feel like you definitely, I think certain emotions, like, just because you're feeling it doesn't mean you should just go reacting and being an asshole to people and, like,
Oh, yeah.
making them feel unsafe around you. Because, like, I'm definitely I have fearful attachment, like disorganized attachment, and I definitely have ripped people apart before because they've hurt me. Like, and I probably seem so psycho. Like, I've written 5-page letters front and back because a boyfriend didn't want to watch How I Met Your Mother with me and wouldn't wait. It was like, oh, yeah, you're a bad boy. Like, I have some issues, and it's like knowing that this person doing this thing isn't, in the feelings you have toward it, may not be fully them causing that feeling. It can be your past causing that feeling, and it's just reminding you of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I've gotten a lot better about just shutting the fuck up and, like, let me sit with myself, process this feeling for a little bit, and, like, then decide how I want to respond to it, because I know that I be a little cuckoo sometimes, and it's hard to trust myself sometimes because of that.
Yeah, I think we all are. Yeah, when I'm saying, like, feel these emotions and let them out, don't let them out onto other people, though, because you don't want to traumatize other people with your... It's like, feel the emotions, but also you have to find a way to release them healthily.
Yeah.
But if you do slip up, because we all have had moments of letting our emotions get the best of us, and maybe we've said something hurtful or impulsively said stuff instead of stepping back and, like, taking a second to process and, like, come up with a good answer. It's like, you do have to take accountability and, like, apologize, and if somebody truly is a good friend or good partner, someone, like, they're gonna understand that you were going through a moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to say, like, don't let it.
Like, don't spiral and think you're a horrible person because you reacted poorly to your emotions, but try to respond rather than react so you don't end up doing stuff that you regret.
Yeah, let that moment teach you. Like, that's a learning lesson. I kind of wrote about that recently because I feel guilt a lot. That's another negative emotion that I feel a lot. Like, I always feel guilty about everything I've done wrong ever. I spiral so much, and I had written about it because, like, guilt is not a bad thing. Guilt is a teacher. Guilt is something that indicates I behaved in a way that does not align with my values. And so it's a time to reevaluate, okay, how am I going to do this differently in the future if a similar thing happens?
Yeah.
So you should really try and reframe negative emotions too, like that.
Is that like what transmuting is?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I transmuted a lot.
Yeah. So, like, transmute guilt to learning and growth. Another one is jealousy or envy. You can transmute that into inspiration or appreciation. You know, if you're jealous of someone's lifestyle, instead of, feeling like, oh, I don't like them because they have the things I want, instead think of it like, oh my gosh, they have all these cool things and I can too. And when you also, another thing about jealousy, when you feel jealousy, it's because you feel like someone else's thing or life is in alignment with what you want. It's the same thing. Like, guilt shows you were doing something out of your values. Jealousy shows you that somebody has some values that you want to call into your life, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and like with the jealousy thing, it can be even cooler. It's even cooler because to transmute it, because now you're seeing someone in your reality showing evidence that it is possible to have this thing.
Yeah. I was writing about anger recently because anger is actually a secondary emotion to fear or like being hurt. Because I was feeling so angry recently with a lot of things, and I wrote down everything I was angry about and then wrote why I'm angry, and a lot of it was fear. Like, I'm scared that something is gonna happen in this way, so I'm angry that, like, something I get angry at bad drivers, and I thought it was just road rage, but now that I've gotten to the root of it, it's more like I'm angry because I'm scared at people driving unpredictably that could, like, kill me, kill somebody else, get in a car crash. That's why I'm angry, is because I'm, like, scared because somebody's driving recklessly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so once you can transmute things or get to the root of things. It's like, okay, how can I transmute this fear into something else?
Sometimes though, I'm like, damn, Casey, literally not every emotion you have needs to be analyzed. Because even when I'm happy, I'm like, why am I happy? I'm happy because I like X, Y, and Z. Oh, I can communicate that to someone or even myself that I like X, Y, Z, and maybe I'll get more X, Y, Z in the future. And I'm like, bitch, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Like the fireworks. Or even I'll be like, oh, these fireworks will look really cool on social media. But then what are people going to think? Everyone's posting fireworks. No one gives a fuck about my fireworks. I'm like, shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
You're thinking too much.
I think, those
even,
thoughts be thought in.
I have it, this is something that I experience a lot. I'll be in a really beautiful moment. Like, recently I went to this flower garden, and it was just so beautiful. Or like when I'm on vacation, I'll be sitting just taking in the moment. Or like when I was in Florida the other week, I'm just on the beach and it's the summer solstice and it was just so beautiful out. And it's like all I can think is this moment is going to end soon.
Yes.
And then I'm not going to be here anymore.
Yes.
Instead of just looking around, soaking it in, I'm like, I'm never going to experience this again. That sucks. It's like,
Yeah.
why am I like thinking that? Why can't I just soak it all in?
Why am I killing the mood right now? Like,
yeah.
I think then, I get that too. Like, even the fireworks, I'm like, aw, I love these fireworks. They're so cool. I'm like, I'm having fun with Emma. Aw, man.
I know. And then, but there are moments I've had where I'm truly present and I'm not thinking anything. Those moments I remember so vividly.
Mm-hmm.
Like the moment I get transported back every time I've had a moment that I'm just completely 100% present, because in that moment to me you're creating new neural pathways with no resistance because you're just taking it all in, and so it's stored in your body easier. That's my theory. I don't know if that's true, but
well, and to get more woo-woo with this, like, I feel like when I'm in those present moments, first off, it makes me want to cry because it's so beautiful. Mm-hmm. And like when you are in those moments, you are experiencing like love. Like you're experiencing source. You're experiencing the universe at its fullest. You're like fully connected with it. And that makes me wonder, like, because like you saw me talking about an experience I had, and you were like, I can't remember what you said, but I was talking about it, and it was like I was there, like experiencing it all over again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was when you flew in and we were in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I could feel Casey's energy just like radiating so. I was like actually in awe. I was like, oh my gosh. Like it was just like coming out. It was like whew.
Magical.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that makes me think like, so we're transporting back into the time, which means maybe in those times when we're fully present, it's like we're being connected to everything. Mm-hmm. And like the future me can communicate with this me, or like with EMDR, like you go back to the traumatic moment and you literally like you feel like you are there again, and it's you now connecting back to that moment and talking to yourself in that moment and giving yourself what you need in that moment.
Yeah. When you're present, that just blew my mind. Like when you're present, time doesn't exist. There's no dimension of time when you're present. Because the moments that I'm not present, it's like I can't even remember them at all. Yeah. Because like I didn't tap into this dimension of no time. But when you like get into that dimension, the present, it's like all time but no time, and it just sticks. Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking of that scene in Interstellar right now with at the very end when he's accessing like every period of time.
Yeah.
I had that when I did shrooms last time. Like I was transported back to when we were in Costa Rica because I was telling Jake about our day that we went ziplining, and it was literally like I was on that zip line again, because I remember when I did that zip line that I've never felt a thrill like that before. Like I was exhilarated to the point that I was like I felt like I was outside my body, but also it was crazy. I was so present, and when I did shrooms, I literally felt like I was there again. So vividly.
That's crazy.
And
I don't remember much of that trip because I was so stressed out with work and I hated my life,
yeah.
which is sad. Like,
I know, it's so sad because when you do access the present moment, it just like
I want to stay here forever.
Yeah. The thing that really opened my mind to this was what's it called? Power of Now. Reading that book, I think, was the first time I really understood how to access the now, like source. Like that's all it is. It's just it's so hard though. It's so hard when your thoughts are just like spiraling and
I get like scared. I'm like, if I get in the now and I'm feeling present and good, then there's going to be a startle attack. Again, my childhood. Literally, my dad got amusement out of like scaring us.
Still to this day with that video.
To this day.
Yeah.
With what video?
That he sent you, the jump scare?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My dad, like, he just... It was like I would just be doing my own thing and all of a sudden he'd come in, what are you doing? Like, to see us fucking startle and jump, and now no wonder I have anxiety. Or even just be like, what are you guys doing? You guys look suspicious in here. I'm like, literally nothing. Like, nothing. Or if I would stutter, he would be like, well, it sounds like you're lying to me or something. I'm like, fuck, dude, like, can I not, like, exist?
Like, making you question every single thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said you're scared that when you get into the present moment, if something does happen, you'll be startled. I've noticed whenever I have had a moment that is a tense situation that requires, like, my adrenaline spikes, that, you know, there's an immediate danger. Whenever I've experienced that, I'm also so present because I'm not thinking of anything else except for that danger.
Yeah. So,
like, danger also makes you present because that's the only... It's like your brain is like, oh, we have an immediate threat for real. Like, it's like, you know what I was saying, like, when you look in your environment, if there's no threats, then, but your mind is spiraling. If you look in your environment and there is a threat, your brain is only going to focus on that and not your, like, other thought patterns and stuff. But so if you're scared to be present because there might be a threat, I feel like being present is actually going to help you with that threat because you're already present, and so you can deal with it right away. That's what we were meant to do, is like deal with threat and danger. Like, we're built to do it.
Yeah.
If there is an actual immediate threat.
Yeah. I guess, like, maybe I'm scared of the danger because my whole life I felt like I was going about handling it wrong. Like, I could never handle it right, it almost felt like, and it would just escalate and, like, it would never get resolved.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but now, it's like, I'm not my past.
Mm-hmm.
Bumble told me that I would, like, did a whole breakdown because I was being all weird and in my head, and I broke down. She's like, Casey, you are not your past.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you are a new version of you. And you can choose what you think and choose what you believe. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you're so right. Like, you're so right. But, like, the little me's pop up. But, yeah, it's, like, hard. It's just hard. It's like...
Yeah. Another thing about being present is you notice that, or like becoming aware that you're not these thoughts. Like, yeah, you're not your past, but you're not any of these thoughts. Anything that you think in your brain literally is not you.
Yes.
You're the observer. You're even observing yourself, judging your negative thoughts. So if, like, let's say you get a negative thought pattern, like, oh, I'm not good enough, and then, because we're hyper aware, so we catch it, and we're like, oh, why am I thinking this? Oh, it roots back to this. I'm not good. I think I'm not good enough because of this, but I'm actually good enough. That's also not you.
Yeah.
You're the one listening to all this chatter.
Yeah.
And you're the observer. Like, you're not that. You're just the consciousness that's observing your entire situation.
Yes. Yes. Like, you are not the story that you tell yourself that you are. Mm-hmm. Like, we like to have this idea of I'm this type of person. This is my story. And I need to hold on so tight to this story or I don't know who I am. And it's like, dude, you're literally you're changing moment to moment. Like, you're just you're just observing it.
You're not your traumatized self. You're not even your healed version of yourself. You're witnessing it all. And so when you realize, oh, I'm just the one witnessing all this, then all the chatter kind of dissipates, and that's how you feel truly present, because you're like, oh, I'm just experiencing all of this.
Yeah.
It's not me. And you don't have to be ruled by that either.
Yeah.
All of this is so much easier said than done. I have to remind myself of this constantly, but that's also going back to the thing I mentioned earlier of it's an intentional effort every single day to reroute yourself back. Okay, I notice I'm thinking this, and I'm thinking about noticing this. No, you're just, no. Reroute, yeah. Nope. None of this is me.
Yeah, like, just turn it off. You don't need to think about it. Yeah. No judgments, just, we're done.
Yeah. It's way easier said than done, though, but if you just continue to show up, reread books about it, re-listen to podcasts, you know, I could listen to a couple of our old podcasts that we recorded like 4 months ago, because I know it, but I keep forgetting it because my brain likes to trick me.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I like that we're doing the podcast because it's stuff I need to hear. Mm-hmm. And I keep forgetting. And then it's like, oh, if I go back and I hear myself say it, then it's like, oh yeah, it's the truth. That's real.
Yeah. That's why I was kind of scared to even post these, like, do this podcast, because I'm like, I feel like a fraud. I'm talking about this stuff and I don't even follow my own advice. Nobody does. Any podcast person or any, like, there's a lot of grifters out there who say they're all healed and they completely, like, are, like, present 24/7, stuff like that. No, literally nobody does that. The people that are the most enlightened or healed or whatever in quotations are the people that show up every single day and continue to do the work. Like, don't think we're perfect and we follow our own advice all the time. Like, nobody's perfect.
I don't know. I'm pretty perfect, Emma.
Well, there you go.
Can't relate. A sarcasm for everyone who doesn't get that. There's moments, I've been, like, noticing this, too. The more I've gone through, because, like, see, we're like, you're not you. Like, you're not really you. You're just the observer. But then it's like, I tend to notice I do these things, but I guess I don't have to. It's just weird. Like, it's weird. It's confusing. But I'm going to just go ahead and say what I was going to say despite that. I have noticed that I'll be, like, talking with people and it will feel too vulnerable sometimes. And and Bumbles notice this too. It's like, I kind of, like, do a little, I'm scared. Mm-hmm. Like, I get a moment of fear of, like, I shouldn't be vulnerable right now. Like, this is not safe.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that too. it's hard to show the worst in quotations, because it's not, but the worst parts of yourself to other people. Especially, at least for me, I feel this weird pressure because I work in mental health. I do this podcast. I'm going back to school in the field of counseling. And so sometimes I feel like a hypocrite. Like, oh, I'm not even healed. Like, I'm not perfect or something. And so I'm not qualified to give advice or something like that. Or I can't show the cracks. Like, I was really stressed out the other week, but I couldn't show it to any of my coworkers because I didn't want them to think like, oh, she's crazy, she shouldn't be working in this field because she can't manage her own emotions. But then I had this moment because I was freaking out internally. I was being really self-negative, but then someone else in my life was also going through something really intense and needed my help in that moment. I put all my stuff aside and gave them the best advice ever. And I helped them work through this huge issue. And everything I was saying was stuff that I didn't believe for myself, but I believed for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard to be vulnerable and like have this pressure of like, oh, we should know better because we're like on a healing journey, but we're still messing up.
We're just learning. Like, we're
It's
learning.
all learning.
We're human. Like, well, like, we are human. So complicated. We're still human. We're still human, and we're still gonna have human reactions and emotions and thoughts.
Something that kind of helps me, because I get a lot of feelings of guilt or like I'm a bad person a lot, or like, oh, I've messed up in this way, so I'm not really redeemable. I think about the generations and generations of humans that have existed before. Like, whenever I feel this way, I just think of humanity as a whole. Like, for example, if I'm struggling with a feeling of jealousy, like, oh, I wish I had this thing, or like my life was like this person's life, which I think in this day and age, a lot of people struggle with being on social media. Like, I feel like a lot of times I go on social media and I'm instantly feeling insecure, like that I'm not doing as good as other people. But people only post their highlights, by the way. But what helps me is I connect with um the vibe of like a maiden girl in the 1600s who's also jealous of the most beautiful girl in a village, and she watches her from a distance and she's like, oh, I wish I had her life because she seems so cool and stuff. Like, there's so many people out there right now, generations before us, generations after us, that are experiencing the same thing as you are, and feeling these intense feelings is not an indicator of who you are as a person, or like places value on who you are as a person. I don't know why it helps me to picture that, like just connecting with generations of people that maybe experienced something similar.
It seems like it was simpler.
Yeah, like it makes me feel less alone, and that it's a human thing, and like a lot of humans have experienced it.
Yeah.
But we're put here to experience it.
Yeah.
We're put here to experience the full range of human emotions. Like, if we only experience positive emotions, then life wouldn't even be that exciting, because it would just be like, oh, another perfect day.
Yeah.
I grew up Christian, and so I grew up learning about heaven and how heaven was perfect and every day was perfect and everything was perfect. And I remember being a kid and being like, that sounds boring. I don't want to sit on a cloud all day and just be happy all day, every single day. Like, it didn't sound that fun to me because it wasn't dynamic. There was no dynamic. I thought it sounded boring because every day would be the same, and it's just like, oh, every single day, the rest of eternity.
You wouldn't have any like fun stories to tell, like
Yeah.
chaos stories.
Yeah, it would have just gotten repetitive. Like if you're happy every single day of your life, it just gets repetitive.
Yeah.
Like we're here to experience the negative emotions too, and it
Full
makes it worth
range.
it. Even I saw this video recently about it cuz I write music, and artists, musicians, people, even like athletes, probably, I'm not an athlete, but maybe, channel their negative emotions into their art, into their music,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what like creates the human experience, makes it more meaningful. Like we've all gone through a breakup or gone through like a hard time and listened to a song that we felt so connected to.
Mm-hmm.
Negative emotions and stuff, that connects us as humans, that connects us in this universe, it brings us together.
Mm-hmm. And it can help us like lean on other people too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even like not talking about art, but if someone's going through a hard time and you've also experienced that, a similar situation, then both people are going to feel less alone, because it's like, oh, we've both experienced this thing, but we have each other and we can talk about it.
Yeah. And like I've made it out and I've made it through and I'm
Mm-hmm.
okay, so you will be too.
Yeah. And I look back on a lot of negative like bad things that have happened to me. I mean, of course, I don't look back fondly on all of it, but some of it, it's like really inspired a lot of growth in me. I've written a lot of songs about things that were not great to deal with in the moment, but now I've created this beautiful music from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It has meaning. Like these things have meaning.
And I think a lot of it is just our perception of the emotion. I feel like we have to experience negative things or like things that we wouldn't have wanted to happen so that we can grow. And it was a learning lesson to like level us up. And maybe it was to show us something like as a mirror of, hey, you do this thing and now it's time to like change it because it's holding you back. Like prime example, like I moved cross country for this guy. Everyone was telling me not to do it. I was like, you know what, whatever, I'm gonna go do it, it could be fun. And it was fun. Then I found out I got cheated on, and that made that whole situation like it sucked, like it was
Mm-hmm.
devastating, but it also made me realize that I keep abandoning myself. I'm trying to find fulfillment from people outside of myself. I am basing a lot of my worth around like guys and boyfriends when I could be forming my own community and making my own little homestead, my own community of people who I love and can depend on and have fun with. And I was putting all my eggs in one basket. And then I was trying to mold myself almost into who they like wanted me to be. And then also like another breakup sucked, but that showed me like, hey, like you're really fearful avoidant, and like your perception of what a relationship should be and your expectations of a relationship are kind of skewed. Like you don't know what a healthy relationship is, and like maybe you should do some research and even pinpoint what you would like to happen in a relationship so that you can get that type of like reality that you want, and so you don't keep repeating bad cycles. Like bad stuff happening is there to teach you something, and especially if it's something happening over and over again, it's like there's a really deep thing that you're unaware of that needs to be changed in order for you to find peace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. basically like my first and only breakup because I haven't really been in like that many serious relationships. But that breakup was the most devastating thing that ever happened to me in recent years. And it was also the best thing that ever happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
And we got back together, and he knows that. We both know, like, it was super devastating, but we also really, really needed it to realize what, like, reevaluate ourselves and be like, okay, what do we need to work on internally? And it changed my life forever in the most positive way. Because in that relationship, I was so anxious attached. And being single for a few years, really, like, I took my power back. I realized my worth. And then we got back together and we were both more healed people. And it's a completely different relationship now because we both know how to communicate. I'm not anxious anymore in the relationship. But yeah, without that devastating experience, I would have never realized that.
Mm-hmm.
I also wrote some really good songs after that breakup. So,
are you gonna drop them?
there's, yeah,
I'm excited.
there's a couple of them that are kind of, a lot of my music is sad and happy. Like, it's very reflective in both ways of like, yeah, there's bad parts of this, but there were also good parts. And that's how I think about life. Like, there's bad and good in everything. That can be found in everything if you just look hard enough.
Yeah. Like, it's not just one singular thing. Like, yeah.
Even, and I'm not saying this discounting like really, really traumatic situations.
Yeah.
Even when bad things happen, there can be good found in some type of way. I think in like everything.
Yeah. Which is putting me a little more at ease and being like, okay, Casey, just like let your guard down, be present, just chill out.
Yeah.
If something bad happens, it happens, and like you are prepared to deal with it, and you can deal with it, and you can get through anything and be all right at the end. Like, you are powerful, like you got this.
I just thought of something. We've been talking a lot and classifying positive, negative emotions, bad and good experiences. This is also something, and for me, it comes a lot from Christianity again, because there's good and evil, heaven and hell, things like that. Beware, when we're talking about all this, it's starting to get a little black and white, like there's good and bad, and there's no in between. Life is all gray. Like, don't think of this dichotomy like everything is either bad or good or something. Everything is just neutral. Even though we feel we don't like some emotions and some situations, we really like others. I don't know, like the classification of black and white.
It's not good or bad.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking, like, when I talked about my music being a mix of both, it's because my experiences are both, but they're also neither. They just are what they are, and it's a neutral thing. So if it helps you to think about every, like, life and emotions in that way, everything just is what it is.
Yeah, like there's literally beauty in every single emotion. Like, when I went through my most recent breakup, I was devastated, but I was just like, you know what, Casey, just feel it. Just feel it. And I was feeling it. I'm like, this is scary. And then I was like, wow, this is kind of beautiful that I'm just walking around the house and randomly starting to cry. And it's beautiful that I even got to feel that type of connection with someone. And this is me grieving the loss of that. And
Yeah.
because it was important. So on the other side of things, it's like, well, I'm just sad I lost something important, but it doesn't mean I'm never going to find something important again. But anyways, so
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah, find the
nothing's
beauty.
bad.
Sometimes when I'm crying, I just think of, again, I don't know why I do this, but I think of an old maiden lady in like the 1800s, like Jane Eyre or something, like weeping. Instead of saying crying, you're weeping. You're weeping in the garden. You're looking outside and you're in your like cottage garden and you're in your long dress and you're weeping. I don't know.
Romanticize it. Romanticize it.
Yeah.
I love that. I feel like we just get caught up on like little things, like little stupid things, like stupid jobs and
Mm-hmm. When
stupid
really none of it
boys
even matters.
stuff. Yeah, like nothing. Like just be here right now.
Like it's all about connection in the moment. That's all. Everything that matters is just being present and connecting. And
I feel pretty present right now.
yeah.
Do we have any other thoughts on this?
I don't. Since I'm feeling present, I'm listening to my body, and my body is hungry.
Yeah.
So
literally same.
I'm gonna make lunch.
Do we have leftovers of the spaghetti?
Yes. We're gonna go eat leftovers.
So.
And we have a Caesar salad, and I found out that it's the 100-year anniversary of Caesar salad being invented.
Happy birthday, Caesar salad.
Thank you so much for your service.
Anyways, thanks for listening. And we have social media. Honestly, we don't really post a lot on it, but we did post that we weren't posting this past week. So occasionally we post. Maybe now that Emma is unemployed and I'm unemployed right now, maybe we will be posting more on it. Who knows? Whatever the vibe calls for, we will do. We also have some good resources linked in our Amazon storefront for like books that you can read that have helped us. And yeah, just stay present. Thanks for listening. Thanks for giving us your time and your attention. And I hope we helped.